Welcome back, students and YouTubers. Today we're going to talk about blending color pencils, focusing on value. So first off, we're going to take a piece of paper and flip it over. We are going to talk about pencils. I'm sure you've seen them in various stores. Why are they named what they're named? Let's brief intro here. This is an HB school pencil typically used, and this is got hard lead in it. So we're going to draw this line here. I'll label it H. Okay, and then we're going to draw this HB pencil over here and draw a line. So the H is usually, or definitely is, a lot lighter of a pencil than the HB. HBs are have more graphite in them and are softer and have a darker line. So let's erase this right here, and let's use a couple of color pencils to draw over those lines that we can barely see and see what happens. All right, you can start to see a line forming. Let's go over it with a darker green. And you should be able to see definitely a line on the left. So basically what that is doing is showing you that when you draw with a hard lead pencil, it basically digs a trench or a ditch in your paper or a trail. Basically, the color does not get in, or the pigment does not get into that ditch there. So that's why you have that white line. So definitely need to know what your tools are when you're drawing so you can use them correctly. So we're going to go over here. Let's take red, orange, and yellow, light pressure right now, and then we are going to go back and add a little bit harder pressure on the far left. Remember to use light and even pressure. So right up here is if we used full pressure. And so basically color pencils are with pigment and wax. So when you push full pressure, you're just saturating the area with wax, and it can't take any more color. So we generally use softer, lighter pressure so we can still see some of that paper grain, and then we're going to overlay that with light pressure with orange, and then we're going to grab yellow and overdo the orange and red, and then go out a little bit with light yellow, light even pressure. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take white, and we're going to go over that, and we're going to go over in the other direction the long way, and that is blending. So this is blending with a white color pencil. It's Prisma. Nothing, too special, even though they're great colors, great brand. This is a Prisma colorless blender, and we're gonna do the same thing. And what's gonna happen here is make that area a little bit brighter. So if you don't have either of those, use a light color like yellow or peach. It definitely will add a little bit of color to your work, just like the white did, but it is definitely, a possibility. So experiment, but if you can, colorless blender definitely works. So here we're going to try to match the value scale on the top with the one on the bottom. We're going to use blue, dark blue, light blue, dark green, purple, colorless blender, and a little bit of white. So really you want to squint your eyes once my hand gets out of the way, and you want to take a look at that value scale. And we're going to try to do that same thing below. I know the printer copier did not do a good job of the last two white steps. We're going to evenly put down purple on the first 3 boxes, and then after you do those 3 boxes, I'm going to go back and try to fill those in. What you want to do is go in the same direction and try to do smooth even pressure so you don't leave pencil strokes. Sometimes you see those where you get certain dark marks. Definitely don't go in random crazy order, because you're going to see some it's just going to affect your work quality. It's just not going to look nice. I did go out of the line once or twice, but try to do your best, because craftsmanship does count. And so I went over that with blue, dark blue. So now I got purple and dark blue, and it goes from heavy pressure to light pressure, or heavy to medium, then to light. Trying to fill in those boxes as completely as possible. Remember, I did double the speed, so I'm actually not moving that fast. All right, so we're filling that in here, and keep doing that a little bit, and then we're going to go over this with a green, starting with medium pressure here, going to light pressure the farther right we go. After green, I believe I used teal. This video was running a little long, so I had to chop off a couple of seconds, so we might miss the teal. And then I added white. So just remember, you're going to go from left to right, smooth, even pressure. So right over here is that teal. And I cover the whole thing in teal to try to give it nice unity. all the way across, trying to fill in all the gaps, but not using full pressure. Nice light, even pressure. I did go the opposite way, kind of like cross-hatching. And there's that part I skipped out. And then we go over white just a little bit to kind of lighten up those right 2 squares. And then we're going to go back with the colorless blender. And we're going to go from right to left. Now you could just do the full strokes like I'm doing, or you could do scrumbling, which is tiny little circles, kind of like scribbling. And then you're going to keep moving your way from left to right. Now I have had a few students go up and down, and you really see a huge difference because each block is their own little step. And when you go left to right like this, they kind of blend together. But when you go up and down, each block becomes its own color spot. And so it doesn't look the same. So keep that in mind. All right, so we're about to move on here. And so the idea is to match the values on the left to the right. So we're going to use orange, yellow, and a little bit of red and another color. Remember to squint your eyes when you're looking at the pumpkin on the left, and then draw a color on the right and try to squint your eyes and compare the two. Remember, comparing is the biggest word I learned in college. It's great. We were drawing with contour lines to cover from left to right, which are the big vocab word, mean following the outside lines of an object. Really helps add that three-dimensional feeling to it. Instead of coloring left to right, it's going to really help sell that whole round form. So remember, here we're adding the whole subject. We add orange. In the center, we added a little bit of yellow just to make it pop a bit and give it that multiple colors. Definitely cool. And so we are going to add some more orange. And now we should start thinking about what color is the complementary color of orange. Try to think about sports teams. They usually use complementary colors. And there's the answer. It's blue. Okay, so when you add a complementary color on top or with its complement, it lowers the intensity. So that orange, when we add blue, is going to make that orange look less bright, less intense. And so it is going to bring down the value of that section. And remember, value is the lightness and darkness. In the 19th century, artists like Van Gogh, Monet, Degas, they used violet or blues to add for shadows because black was just too cold and mechanical, and the other cool colors just made it feel more lifelike. So next time you see a shadow, squint your eyes and see if you can actually see other colors. Some of you I'm sure will, some of you haven't developed that skill yet, but that's okay. So dark blues are on the far sides, and then we have light blue on the two inner sides, and we're going to go over the middle with light blue even lighter than the other section. And so we're just going to keep doing that, following the contours, remember, which are the outside edge of the form or the shape. I'm just trying to sell that. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to layer some more oranges on there just to bring back some of that orange. You should be comparing, like I said, which is the biggest term I learned in college. And I say that jokingly, but you keep looking at that and compare one thing to the other. Compare your reference to your artwork. Compare your reference to your artwork. It helps so often. It really helps you learn to draw, learn to see, learn values. So keep that up. And here we go. So we're filling that in. We're using a colorless blender here. I'm trying to fill that in completely. I can't seem to let it go, but I'm going to end up coloring that stem up there eventually. Yep, there I go, because for some reason I can't let it go. Okay, so if you look down on the bottom here, the next pumpkin is from the far dark on the left to the far bright on the right. Right here is where I let my students take over, and hopefully they've learned enough through the previous examples to do the last set of pumpkins by themselves. But if not, you can keep on watching this. I'm pointing out right here that the first light pumpkin thing we did, that's how dark the last pumpkin is. So anyways, here we're trying something different. You don't have to use those standard colors. We're trying purple here. A couple of students liked it, so I thought I'd try it. And so we're adding dark, okay pressure, medium pressure on the far left, and slowly moving over to the right with increasingly less pressure. All right, remember purple's complementary color is yellow, and yellow and red make orange. So we're hoping that purple and yellow and orange, they all play nice together, which I think they do in the end. There's a hint on the bottom talking about value as the definition, measuring the lightness and darkness. So here we go, adding some yellow. Remember, we use vocabulary words so we can all communicate efficiently. Can you imagine what life would be like, or sports or video games, if you guys had students or people had different words to describe the same thing? There'd be a lot of confusion. So here we go. So we're adding some more, looks like dark purple there. Light pressure, really light pressure going over it and over it. And I would love to say it's intentional, but I did end up making a mistake in the far right. And I'm going to teach you guys how to go back and fix color pencil mistakes. And so we're adding some orange here. Trying to fix that mistake by adding orange, and it's not seemed to working because I've gone too dark. Remember, it's easier to add darkness, but once you've added too much dark, it's hard to take that away. So I do have a quick trick, but it does not make things perfectly perfect. Okay, so we keep on going here with the colorless blender. Remember to hold that paper down so you don't rip or crush the paper. Smoothing that out some more. I like that real dirty look of that orange, green, purple. Really looks like a shadow. Kind of looks like an organic pumpkin instead of like a, computer typical clip art pumpkin. All right, so I'm adding a little gray here. I don't always do that. I didn't really like it, but it kind of made that far section a little darker. So what do I do in that corner on the right? Didn't work. Well, I'm going to take an object here in a minute, which could be paper clip, anything, toothpick. I'm going to lightly scratch off that last section on the right, and that's just going to remove some of the color, pigment, and wax of the color pencil. And then I'm going to go over it with a slightly lighter color, so hopefully they'll give that rim of brightness. So finishing the stem there, because apparently I have to. And there I'm adding white, and that just doesn't seem to work for me. So now I'm taking this pick from yarn, which we had sitting out, and you're going to gently scratch away the wax. You might not seem to get much, but you are going to definitely reveal some paper. And then I'm going to go back over with white, and that's going to add more of a brightness to it. Okay, so down here below, remember I'm looking, comparing left to right, and I'm going to go over the whole section in white, or sorry, yellow, lightly. Right, and then still following those contours, the outside edge of the shape. I'm going to add some orange there, and then just keep on working up the color. Yep, just keep lightly working in the color. Remember, you can go darker, but you can't go lighter. It's a lot harder. So I'm working those in there. I believe I switch it up and add a little bit of a red in there, just to kind of give some of that red orange of a pumpkin. I like seeing variety of color. Really adds a pop of visual interest when it's just not one flat color. So keep that in mind as we are moving on to our 2-point perspective cityscape, where we're gonna add multiple colors. So here you go, I'm adding some of that blue just to add a little bit of that complementary color to devalue that orange, to kind of change the tone, the value of the pumpkin. Keep on doing that there. We're approaching the end of the video, and if you're still here, I do appreciate you watching all this. I know it's a little longer than I planned for it, but it needed to get done so you guys could see it if you weren't in my class, or you're stuck home waiting on a COVID test, or worse, have COVID. Take care, guys. Please like, subscribe. Feel free to participate. I'll hopefully have a link for this worksheet in the bottom of the description. Thanks again for tuning in and supporting each other and myself as I make this content. I really like seeing the likes. Definitely appreciated to know that my time is also appreciated. So thanks again, guys.